The peacefulness of the day shattered with a wave of deafening explosions, erupting from all directions at once. Sebastian bolted to his window, as did Adrian, Dane, and every other soldier stationed at the Air Force Base just beyond the city's edge. Drivers slammed on their brakes and climbed out of their cars, shielding their eyes as they scanned the sky. The blasts circled the city, immense, precise, almost surgical. However, no smoke, no fire, not even startled birds. The ground convulsed, walls groaned, communications went dark. It felt as if the entire world might collapse, but it didn't. Then came the silence, so complete it rang in their ears. Everyone looked up. The clouds no longer drifted lazily. They contorted, jagged and wild, stampeding across the sky like beasts fleeing something ancient and vast. Behind them, a darkness emerged, deeper than night. A wound in the sky. Then, the final explosion. The heavens cracked with a sound like a breaking star, and from the endless rift, figures began to descend. Not falling, not flying, but gliding along trails of violet light. They looked human, almost, but their movements were too flawless, like imitations of life rehearsed 1,000 times. They landed in small groups across the base and surrounding city. Each moved with eerie purpose, locking eyes with someone in the crowd. Soldiers and civilians froze. The beings raised their hands and mirrored the stance of their chosen human twin with unsettling precision. Then, one by one, they stepped forward and touched the right shoulder of their counterpart. A wave of calm pulsed through the chaos. Without speaking, the beings summoned pearlescent orbs from the air, each glowing with strange, shifting symbols. The symbols twisted mid-air into known letters. The beings read aloud in soft voices that bypassed the ear and echoed directly into thought. And just like that, they vanished, the rift sealed with a thunderclap. Sunlight poured back in, clouds unraveled, the breeze returned. Sebastian stood frozen, breath shallow, the orb still hovering before him. He turned slowly to Dane and Adrian. Both stared blankly at their own floating message, expressions tight with disbelief. For a moment, despite standing side by side, the three felt entirely alone. And then life resumed, quiet, familiar, almost indifferent to what had just occurred. Sebastian blinked slowly, his pupils still adjusting to daylight. He glanced at Dane, jaw tight, breath caught in his throat. Adrian's fingers twitched at his side, still clenched into fists. None of them spoke, but in the shallow rise and fall of their chests, in the shared stillness, it was clear. This wasn't over. It hadn't been a dream. No words were needed. The silence between them said enough. Sebastian's gaze didn't waver. "What if this is real?" he asked, barely above a whisper. Adrian shook his head, jaw clenched. "This doesn't make sense. There has to be an explanation. It's hard to believe any god would allow this. It must be a trick." Sebastian turned to face him fully, something fierce sparking in his eyes. "It's not a trick, it's evolution. The strongest survive, always have. And now we're being tested. I want to be part of that." For a split second, a memory flickered through his mind. He was 7, alone at recess, watching the other children form teams. Never picked, never invited. A boy apart. Invisible, yet always watching. Always waiting for his great moment. Dane narrowed his eyes. "You don't even know what that is, and you're already talking about who lives and who doesn't." Adrian looked up from his phone, voice low. "My mom got the same message. Same orb, same words." Sebastian reached toward his orb. The surface shifted beneath his fingertips, and glowing text spiraled into the air. He began to read aloud, his voice steady but charged. "Blessed human beings. Life is the only reason worth dying for, and now the time has come to prove it." He swallowed hard. The words hung heavy in the air. The orb warmed in Sebastian's hand, pulsing like a heartbeat that didn't belong to him. He opened his mouth, and the words came, but not from him. Hundreds of thousands of years ago. The place seemed to still. Even the air held its breath. A divine gift was given to your kind. Intelligence. His voice faltered. The word lingered, intelligence, as if it could explain everything and nothing at once. You shaped it through fire and fear. You carved order out of chaos. Sebastian glanced at Adrian, who stood motionless, brows drawn. Dane's eyes narrowed. They were hearing it too. You guarded this gift, you grew it. The orb pulsed faster. But you were not alone. Sebastian swallowed again. The air felt thicker now, like the truth had weight. He paused. The air pressed down, dense with meaning. 2 other species also received intelligence. They too evolved. Dane's mouth tightened. Sebastian continued. By universal law, the paths of these 3 species must converge. A point in time has been reached, the trial of evolution. Thousands from each species must battle for the right to continue life on their planet. Only one will remain. His tone dimmed. Only with your greatest passions can you achieve victory. We believe you have what it takes, but the choice is yours. In 24 hours, you must select your finest warriors and your best weaponry. Location does not matter. They will be teleported. The fate of your planet is in your hands. Silence again. Adrian exhaled shakily. Every word matches what my mom saw. Sebastian turned to the others, voice low but resolute. Still think this isn't real? Adrian hesitated. I have doubts, and I don't get how you're so calm, how you're excited. Sebastian's hands curled into fists at his sides, trembling with a fire he hadn't felt in years. I've waited my whole life to mean something more than a name on a uniform. Maybe this is what I was meant for. Dane didn't respond immediately. His voice, when it came, was flat. My head's spinning, but one thing's clear. This isn't just happening to us. We need to find out what the rest of the force knows. Adrian nodded, already moving. Let's go. Let's see what the others saw. Whatever this was, it wasn't over. It was the spark, the beginning of something that would change everything.